All right, my name is Bruno Novak. I am joined by this very intelligent gentleman that works in engineering, John Wilcox, who is the evangelist for Windows servicing. And I am a product manager in the Microsoft 365 marketing team. And I work on deployment, I work on servicing, I work on Windows and desktop analytics, and a few other things. So for the next hour and 15 minutes, let me see my own time. I have 2 minutes, so I have to tell you stories because I don't want to start before they start recording, and then you know how that goes. So I think we have 105 slides, to be honest. I don't have slides that I talk for 6, 7 minutes at a time, for the most part. But we do have a ton to cover. So it's 75 minutes. When John and I and Thomas and others on the team were helping us put it together, they're kind of like, dude, 75 minutes. Ton of time, right? I'm like, dude, I don't think so. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Windows and Office ProPlus servicing all in 75 minutes. I've done workshops with customers for a whole day to talk about this thing. And so we're going to try to put a lot of stuff together in this 75 minutes. I can stick around a little bit after the session if you have questions. And I'm going to start walking towards the expo because I have booth duty there too. And so if you have questions and want to ask those questions, yes, we will be there at the Modern Desktop booth for that. And then we have a compressed version of this in 45 minutes, early morning on Thursday. And so if you have people that you know that weren't here but still want to know, they can get like the accelerated version, the fast reading version of this. Okay? And so with that, I still have 1 minute. And as my friend Wilcox said, we have a play in 3 acts. So we're going to talk a little bit about what most customers end up asking as we start these kinds of sessions with them, which is like, why? Why do I want to keep myself up to date every 6 months? Give me some ammunition, Bruno, please. So let's work through that. Then John's going to come up and talk about how do you manage the change management of this process, because that's a lot of change. There's technology behind it, but ultimately it's about how you think and how others think and how you build trust and confidence. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about the bits and pieces of technology in the back end that we continue to evolve and what we're doing with them to make it easier for you to do it. Okay? So that's the plan. Thank you for the attention. Thank you for the willingness to exercise at 4 p.m. on a wonderful Monday afternoon in Florida. And let's get this train on the road. Okay. So, why? Why service Windows and Office? That's the question I basically get almost at the start of every time we talk about servicing. And it starts really with our mission. We think that for us to be able to empower every person, every organization on the planet, we want to empower them with the latest technology, and we want to protect them with the latest technology, and we want to make sure that they take the best advantage of their hardware and their software so that they can do it. And so it goes that deep. It goes to a point where we look at our mission and then we say, hey, for us to be able to do that, we need to service, and we need to service it more often. Because in the world we live in, if we don't service it often, there's some bad people around, they're going to want to take advantage of it. And so let's do a quick refresher on Windows as a service and the reasons behind updating and servicing it in a way that you are kept secure, that you are kept stable, and that you give your end users the best that we have to offer. Does anyone feel like this? We see my conversations with IT departments, be it on campus in Redmond or be it traveling around the world and meeting with you and your peers in the industry. It's like there's a ton going on. I don't get more budget. I don't get more staff. I don't get more hours in the day. And especially in the end user computing arena, I need to evolve. I need to move forward, and I need my end users to be satisfied, not to be just satisfied, to be delighted, because my CEO is telling me I need to hire millennial talent, I need to retain my current talent, I need to move things forward. Add to all of that the fact that you get basically pressure from everywhere, right? It's digital transformation. You heard Satya in the morning. Everything is becoming more and more digitized, which ultimately means that more aspects of the business will demand more of us. And so the more I can do to drive this currency and to make it move in an automated fashion, but in a way that you control and trust, the better off all of us will be. Now, this is a slide that is my why stay current answer. Now let's break it down by those 3 pieces. The first one is on the cumulative updates that we deliver every month. We bring in improved performance, stability, latest hardware support, and so on to make sure that your devices behave and take advantage of all the hardware innovation and all of the software innovation that we deliver. The middle one is probably the big elephant in the room. Security is essential. We have seen way too many people be impacted by this across all industries, across all over the globe, and we want to make sure that we're protecting our data, our company's data, our identities, and everything else. So you want to make sure that the device is secure. And then last but not least, as you want to delight the end users, and as we learned that almost 50% of new professionals coming in the marketplace are willing to change their decision of employment based on the technology that the employer gives them, we want to give them the latest and the greatest that we have to offer. And so for that reason, those 3 reasons, we have built a servicing cadence around monthly updates and half-yearly feature updates. But we also have done that to solve a few problems that are in place pre-Windows 10. So when you think about the servicing problems that you may have faced or may still face, we talk about the fact that the complexity is very big. You don't keep a full patch system more often than not. And so this fragmentation of servicing doesn't help. It doesn't help you have a consistent install base. It doesn't help you have consistent devices with your peers in the industry. And it doesn't help all of us to test and support the exact same set of bits. So that's a complication we wanted to get rid of. Fragmentation in general, just multiple versions of multiple releases, and the code base is not the same, and it's not all patched against the same KBs at all time. And this is what creates the lack of consistency in the ecosystem. And it leads us to a place where even though we want to support every single one of you, if every single one of you is a different set of bits that is running as the OS with a different set of hardware, with a different set of drivers, it makes it very, very hard. And so that's one of the things that we have done with Windows 10 servicing, and now has been backported into Windows 7 for the most part, to make sure that we give you a cumulative update that brings your devices up to a code base that we can all service and support. Now, we talked about security. What does it really mean when I say servicing helps with security? It means that when we had the longer term releases every few years of the OS, and despite the fact that we kept making the updates take care of known security vulnerabilities, we weren't able to change fundamental pieces of the architecture of the OS dependent on some of the things we found out. Now, as we do that every 6 months, we have that ability. We have the ability to change how AV works, how some of the defense in-depth capabilities of the OS change. And so all those things also play an important role. Sometimes you may think, look, you are doing this every 6 months, but really some things only change every 3 years within that 5 or 6 releases. That's not the case. And so please be very mindful that as we do a feature update, we're not just changing if you have some end user features or if you have support to the latest CPU and chipset. We continue to work on improving the architecture of the OS and make sure that you're kept safe. This is not just a Windows problem. If you look at some of the latest threats, Meltdown and Spectre are probably some of those that really take a long time for a lot of you to be able to handle and protect yourselves from. It goes deeper than that, right? It goes to the silicon, it goes to the CPU, it goes to basically the whole ecosystem. And to me, it's even more complex. Like, I spoke to a customer in May, and they basically explained, I have 120,000 devices, and I want to protect myself from Meltdown and Spectre right now, and all of the updates for my hardware from the chipset manufacturers are available, and the updates for Windows are available. But I am running a set of security software that is incompatible with those patches. And so now I have to go back and I have to update all of that, and it will take me 9 months to update my security stack to then be able to patch the OS. And so those things are super interdependent, and the servicing cadence needs to be at the OS level, and we work very closely in partnership with security vendors, with data encryption vendors, with VPN vendors, to make sure that they also continue to evolve their support in cadence with our releases. This is not a Windows issue. This is a broader ecosystem problem that we want to make sure we continue to service and make sure that you are kept safe. Now, terminology. I have heard people refer to this as monthly updates, Patch Tuesday, security updates, cumulative updates, LCU, and quality updates. So let's just set our language for a second here. All those things are one and the same, but the way we most often talk about it is quality updates. Those are a single cumulative update that we release every month on Patch Tuesday. It has no new features, but it takes care of security, reliability, bug fixes, and it always supersedes the previous month's release. And when we get to the technology piece, you're going to see that that plays a key part in making sure that we have smaller packages to download, and we can more easily distribute and patch your devices. And then feature updates. Twice per year, this is where we bring a lot of innovation, new features, some of them visible in UI, some of them not, and then they allow you to do a single in-place deployment. This is another thing that is very consistent as we meet with customers. As you work on embracing this cadence, and I appreciate the effort that goes on it, we have seen a lot of cases where the approach is still the old OS deployment approach, and you haven't become comfortable enough with making the upgrade and using this in-place upgrade. One thing that I want to make sure is our engineering teams and all our guidance, et cetera, is very focused on this in-place upgrade because first, it is the fastest that provides the least amount of user disruption, but also because it's the one that can preserve a lot of the stuff that happened on the device before. And there's a lot of investment in making sure that it is as seamless and that it doesn't impact you or your users in a lot of ways. Now, I have two slides that I believe all of you have probably asked for a couple of times. And so the question is, okay, so you release every 6 months. What is in there? And so this is a list of everything that we released in every feature release in the last 3 years. The last one is 1809, which is about to be made available to you. If you're an insider, you're getting it. And so this is for when people question, but do I really need it? Is there stuff in there? Yes, there are thousands of engineers working day and night, adding feature, functionality, capability, value, making it safer, making it faster, making it better battery life, and all of that goes into every single feature update. And then people ask, okay, I get it on Windows, but do I really need to do that with Office? You keep telling me that I need to go to Office 365 ProPlus. And I'm here in my Office Perpetual 2013, 2016, hopefully not in 2010, because October 2020 is coming, you know. And you asked why? Well, the reality is that Office 365 ProPlus also gets released every 6 months and gets a set of features that are cloud dependent. If you were in Brad Anderson's session right before this, you saw many of those demoed, and those features are not even in Office 2019. That's because we need to use the cloud to provide some of those features, and ProPlus is the version we release that is connected to our cloud services. And so hopefully with those two slides and some of the conversation I just had, I'm equipping you to have better, deeper conversations in your organizations to move forward on servicing. And then I'm sure you're asked about money. Can I save money on this, or is it just going to become more expensive? And so we conducted a total economic impact study with Forrester, where we looked at it from 3 different points of view for the modern desktop. We looked at infrastructure and licensing savings on a period of 3 years. We looked at device provisioning, and we looked at app provisioning. And we have, for a 5,000 user organization, that is kind of our model organization for this study, savings of up to $7.2 million across productivity, infrastructure, licensing, and overall agility that you gain in managing your modern desktop. Okay, so this was my what and why session. So we're wrapping up the first act, and I'm going to ask Mr. Wilcox to come up on stage and talk to you about how to manage the change that this creates in your organization. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Bruno. And thank you all for spending the afternoon with us. First, I must compliment you. You're clearly the brightest and smartest people at the conference because you managed to find this room back here in the corner of God knows where we are in this big convention center. So give you all yourselves a hand of that. And now that I've taken care of Speaker 101, compliment your audience for being here. Let me spend some time talking about what really is the biggest challenge that we hear from customers as they move to Office 365 and Windows, which is not the product of the technology. In fact, 3 years into this now, the technology has borne itself out to be remarkably better than we expected. It's worked very well for customers who've moved, but the change process that occurs is quite a bit. And the good news is, the change process is not uncommon to you because the other parts of your business, as they made this transformation in terms of a more agile, competitive product space, have faced the same challenges. What this is really about is bringing IT to the same place the rest of your business has been in the last 10 to 15 years. Using data, being more responsive to your customers, improving your products in a way that you couldn't do in the past, knowing more about what your customers are using your products for so that you can improve them. But when has that come to IT? It's really about bringing IT into that space so you can share that mission with us in terms of making your customers more productive, more successful in what they're trying to go do. So how many of you are still on Windows 7, Windows 8, and have yet to begun the migration to Windows 10? And that's why you're here. Raise your hands. A few? Okay. How many of you are already broadly on the 10 and staying current 10 in a process that's working well for you? About the same number? And how many of you are in between that you're on 10, but you still haven't figured out how to do it easily? Well, the majority there. Great. So we're going to cover, particularly for that group and the groups that are getting started, what we've learned with our customers over the last 2.5 years in terms of doing this. So best practices and servicing in terms of the change management aspect of what's going on. So let's first start to give you the good news, which the part I'm going to describe to you around managing the rollout of these releases is in fact really not different than anything you've ever done in the past in terms of an OS or any other software update. The tasks that you expect you need to go do, I probably already agree with you. Yes, you need to go do those. What we're going to talk about is there a way by which you can do those things smarter, better, and more effectively, and do those in a process that in fact enables you to be more responsive to your customers and in fact do a better job in terms of those customers. And we believe that that is the case. So let's talk about in the past, Windows XP to Windows 7. When the OS came out, there were a number of things that you did in terms of preparing yourself before you rolled that out. You look in terms of was the OS ready for what you're trying to go do? You understood the features and functionality. You participated in terms of the beta. You got familiar with what was there. You looked at was the network ready for the capabilities or the needs of the OS rollout? Because we changed things, we moved the start screen around, we took the start screen away, we put new APIs in. You had to deal with applications, and you probably had to go out and get new versions of applications from your ISVs or internally. And so you went through this process in terms of getting ready. It might have taken a long time. It might have taken a year, 2 years. We met with a customer that spent 4 years and over $10 million getting prepared to roll out Windows 7. But eventually you got to that point. And somehow, whether you got into a room together, did it over email, when you decided you're ready to go, you made your deploy decision that things are ready. You had your golden image. You made the decision to deploy it, and then you would deploy it out to your users to use the product. But how many of you, after you made your golden image for the first time, started to roll it out, and then found issues, and you made the second golden image, or maybe the third or fourth golden image if we're talking about it, right? So while the process was what you used, it really wasn't all that particularly effective in terms of knowing what the state of the image was or knowing the state of the rollout was and getting it right the first time. But most importantly, if you think in terms of the value of that software, you spent far too much time, money, and effort on the left side of that deploy decision, not on the right side, which is where your customers, where your end users got value out of the new technology, the new capabilities that were being delivered to them. And so if I could show you means by which you could move that deploy decision to the left sooner in the life cycle of that release, but more importantly, do it in such a way that you reduce the amount of time and money and effort that you spent on doing that, but critically that you did it with better validation and a better experience of delivering ultimately quality and capabilities to your users, would you be interested in terms of doing that? I think you would, and that's what we're going to talk to you about today. So we're going to do that primarily using telemetry-based validation. Data and telemetry is sort of the key by which all these things work by the software as a service model. And I'm going to share with you both in terms of how we make this available to you, but most importantly, how Microsoft has taken a commitment and a bet around this and has transformed our ability in terms of servicing our customers, both in terms of the way we deliver product, but also in terms of the way that we basically administer devices much in the same way you're responsible for doing that yourselves. And then using tools like Intune, SSCM, Windows Update for Business for deploying the bits out. And Bruno will come back up and talk to you about in terms of how to optimize that, minimize bandwidth, and some new capabilities that we're rolling out. So as I share this with you, I want you to understand this is not just me making a promise or commitment to you as a customer to go do something. This is in fact something that we live and breathe with on a daily basis. And we have to deliver these things because we in fact are committed to doing this for our commitments to our customers that we manage. I'm the IT administrator for over 550 million devices. All of your machines at home are connected to the Windows Update service, and I'm the IT administrator for those devices. I update them every month. And every 6 months, we push out a feature update and update your devices with new features and capabilities. And it's not just your devices, it's your brothers and sisters, your mom and dad's machines. I apologize for all of you who get support calls from mom and dad. I do too as well. I love them as much as you do. But I'll let you know a little dirty secret. I don't have a golden image for all your machines at home. I'll say it again. I don't have a golden image for all your machines at home. I retest your applications and I validate your applications before I update your device. So how do we do this? How do we manage to update these devices? And I'll share you, it's actually gotten better and better in terms of our velocity of updating devices and in terms of the user experience. So how do we go do this? The first was a fundamental importance and commitment around app compat from release to release. The team, in fact, did a far better job in terms of app compat from 7 to 10 than we expected. And so our experience has been app compat outside a set of largely third-party security apps who don't restrict themselves to support APIs. App compat has been fantastically good. It's so good, in fact, that as you saw, we just announced an app compat program, which is if you have an application compat problem from 7 to 10, call us and we'll engage to help you at no charge, at no cost. And we can make that commitment because from our experience, we're not going to see that many issues. App compat's been phenomenally good. It's in fact the most important thing we can do. The second is we change our engineering process to make sure that we deliver against that. And so in the old world, we had multiple code bases. In today's Windows 10 environment, if we're fixing a bug, I first fix it in the next version of Windows 10 that's being flighted out to users when it gets validated there, and only once it gets validated in the next release, I bring it back and I ship it to you so that you can have confidence that when you take the next update, that fix that you were dependent upon that was important to you is already in the next update. That's where it started, and you'll see things work continuously as you move forward. An experience you might not have seen moving from 7 to 8 as an example. So this combination in terms of changing the way that we do our engineering process to deliver against this servicing commitment and using of data and telemetry in terms of knowing what's going on. Everything we do with Office and Windows now leverages in terms of telemetry and data to give us feedback and validation of what's going on very quickly as soon as we get updates that go out to users. So we can either validate to know that things are working as expected, or if there's a conflict, we'll identify them very quickly, and then we can make a decision in terms of what we need to go do, stop updating devices that have that conflict, resolve it, and then continue. And here's what's very powerful about that. The learnings and the data that I get from all those devices that Microsoft updates, I will share back with you as a commercial customer at no charge so that you can leverage that information as part of your job and as part of your service to your end users. And what does that mean to you? Let me give you a little idea in terms of the scale of the data that we have. We had over about 10 million devices a month. Since Windows 10 shipped, we've done over 1 billion feature updates, approaching 14 billion quality updates. To the point in time now, we service approximately 300 devices of every second of every day. In every one of those servicing events, we get data and telemetry back for all types of hardware, all types of applications, and all that information helps us know what's going on, and I share that back with you through analytics. So if you think about it, I've already updated most of the hardware in your environment before you'll even attempt to go do that. I've updated the HP laptops, the Dell notebooks, the Lenovo tablets. Before you attempt to do it, I can tell you in advance Windows 10 1809 is already running on that hardware and it works great. Or there's a new driver for it and it will get deployed with the update. or in terms of many of the applications. That information that I can share back to you across every language and geography makes it much easier for you in terms of delivering against your users. So this impact that it has to you is because we defragmented, as Bruno shared with you earlier, so the testing that I get, the data that I get is 100% applicable to your environment because it's the same bits now. The consumer scale and the speed by which I get that telemetry and data back, again, that's all applicable to your environment across every language and every geography, now means, quote unquote, get to enterprise quality far faster than any previous release that might take months, if not years, for us to get that information and learning back to you. So how can you take advantage of this, and how's this key in terms of this particular piece? Let me share with you some of our experience with this last role, 1803, for the devices that we manage. We really heavily rely on this data and telemetry, and in fact, we moved to machine learning language in terms of rolling this out in this past release so that we could actually use AI for identifying devices that could take an update, predicting which devices would have a good experience, and every night looking at that, learning, improving the tools, and adding more devices. It was the fastest update that we've done to date in terms of our velocity. As you see in terms of comparing RS4 1803, the previous release, about half the time to get to the same number of devices. So much, much, much quicker. And you might say, great, it's fast, but I don't get paid in terms of how quickly I can get my users to be in a bad state. I get paid in terms of having users have a good experience. Well, hopefully you think we do as well. Here's the most exciting thing. Not only did it go fast, and it really went quite a bit quicker than in previous releases. Most exciting, in fact, this is our call centers. When you have an issue at home, when you call us, went down, even though we went faster. In fact, it's the lowest it's been since Windows 10 released. So while we're in fact updating devices at a quicker cadence than we ever have been able to do in the past, we're able to get new capabilities out to users, improve their experience. We're doing it in a fashion that's causing less and less disruption and making our user experience better. This is the same type of thing you have to juggle with and understand as an IT in terms of rolling out to your users, what's the quality impact going to be, what's your call center impact going to be. We jiggle those same types of things. It's how do we go about doing this. We talk in terms of making the product better. RS4 had a reduction in terms of stability issues about 20%. Update times went down dramatically. How many of you have experience in terms of updates taking an hour, hour and 15 minutes? That's your concern? Okay, you're absolutely correct. TH11 is probably an hour and a half. Our mean update time for 1803 just went out for all devices in the world was 28 minutes. If you have a modern Surface type device with SSDs, it was less than 10 minutes. Because every time we do a feature update, as Bruno showed, not only adding new capabilities, the servicing stack has a capability and it's getting better, the updates have been getting smaller. And so the experience itself continues to improve as we make the product experience better. So, for those of you who are just getting started, moving from 7 to 10, or for those of you who are already on 10 but still haven't got quite things figured out, or, and I will ask you if those of you are on 10 are working well, it'd be interesting to see if you had the same experience. 4 key skills that you need to think about in terms of successfully making this transformation to a servicing model. The first 2, everybody in this room will get because everybody did this before. First is infrastructure in place. If you're on SSCM, getting to SSCM current. If you're using BigFix or Altiris, making sure you're on the version of their products that they support on Windows 10 and supports the servicing cadence and the model for Windows 10. Getting your flooding rings figured out. Infrastructure in place, step 1. Step 2, which will be top of mind because it was so painful for you in the past, will be your initial app compat testing, because even though I'll tell you your apps are going to work great, you'll be very skeptical, you won't believe me, and you want to go test those applications and make sure that they still work on 10 without changing. And that's where many customers stop. In the past, or even some of you will sort of stop there. And here's the key, the next 2 that are very, very critical and important. The next is in-place upgrade confidence. So in the middle of deploying Windows 10 for the first time, or for those of you who are already on 10, you'll probably look back and say, yes, I wish I had done this. There'll be an update. We'll have updated Windows 10 before you finish deployments. And how are you going to manage that update? How are you going to manage getting to that deploy decision to roll Windows 10 update out to your users? Because it should be a non-event. This will be the steady state going forward with Windows and Office. So my guidance to customers today are now is, as you're doing your initial application compatibility, take 20% of those devices, put them on the targeted build, and do an in-place update to the next version of Windows, be it insider preview builds, or you could do 1809 today. And now do your app compat both on your targeted deployment build and on the next one, so that you can see that the applications work on both the existing build you're going to deploy on and the next one. You can see the in-place upgrade process works the way you expect it to across both those. Figure that out up front before you start deployment. So in the middle of your deployment, you can roll off onto the next update, and it won't disrupt what you're doing because you've already gone through that process and prepared for it. The last one is I call innovation adoption. You know, when we moved from XP to 7, it had been 4 or 5 years, and it came out, and you had to wait for ISVs to go get new versions of their apps to work on the new APIs and to deal with the start screen moving. The capabilities were brought to you. You had lots of time to figure them out. Well, I'm now shipping new features and functionality to you on a much quicker cadence. Many of those features and functionality are things that you ask for. They enable new types of hardware, new security capabilities, new capabilities your users want in terms of features and functionality. And so now the question is, are you prepared in terms of understanding how you become aware of those capabilities? Which of those features and functionalities your business partners inside your organization want to be able to go use? And that you can do the planning and the design work to be able to roll them out, to use them in your organization. Because many of these capabilities that we ship do require you to do configuration work or planning work for how you're going to go use those. And so building the muscles inside your organization to identify the new capabilities, complete the design, the planning work for them, so that when it ships, you can roll it out and actually put it in use. The 4 tools that you'll want to develop in terms of moving to a software as a service model. So I talk about this telemetry and this data. We've shared this information with everybody and has shared with us for a long time in a website called Ready for Windows. Hopefully, some of you know about Ready for Windows, have used it. It's a very fascinating thing to go look for. The data I look at, I get back from devices and telemetry, shows me all the applications in use on any device running Windows 10, all versions of those applications. And I publish that information to you at a website called Ready for Windows. You can go to this website, you can type in any app, and I will show you all the data that I have about that app across any version of Windows 10 that you're interested in. It's interesting, if you go search for Chrome, you'll see an entry of probably about 800 entries now because of every unique version. They probably ship 3 or 4 a week. And you'll see those in use in terms of 1703, 1709, 1803, 1809. If you're a SAP user, if you use SAP GUI 7.4, you'll see it's used. And we'll tell you if it's broadly used, you'll see highly adopted, means it's running on more than 100,000 devices. And so you can go look in advance and see what other customers are doing in terms of using a specific application. But if you're using Windows Analytics, which is where all of you should be doing, this is that tool that we're providing to you that gives you the same capabilities that we use internally to leverage the data and telemetry from devices to know what's going on in your organization. That information that I have, rather than going to a website, flows back into you natively in terms of an Azure OMS site. We map this information back to your specific hardware. We map this information back to the applications you have inside your organization. And we will show you in advance, based upon this hardware mix and these application mix, these are the devices that are good for updates because they're already running outside your organization and the experience has been good. Or these particular devices can be updated, but you need to update the driver. Or these particular applications that you have, I don't have visibility to externally, so that you can validate those internally in terms of your rolls out. With the release that comes out this fall, we're going one step further. For those of you who are also SSEM customers, we talk a long time about flighting, but we don't do a very good job of explaining how to set up flighting rings, what makes a good flighting ring. Well, the key of a flighting ring is that it generates the data and telemetry that you need to make that deploy decision. That is a valid representation of your organization. So now with analytics this fall, it will go out and it collects the inventory of all your hardware and your applications. It will analyze those, and it will recommend to you groups within SSCM that you should roll out these updates through in these flighting strategies. That gives you the coverage necessary to know that the data that you have is valid for your entire organization and that you can roll it out automatically. And so if you accept the recommendation that it comes up with, SSCM will automatically take those and build those groups for you automatically. So it's using the intelligence that we're getting from this feedback to drive the automation process and allow you to monitor what's going on rather than to drive it manually. That's upgrade readiness. Update compliance answers the question, am I patched for WannaCry? Am I patched for Spectre Meltdown? It shows you, of your devices, which of them are current in terms of the monthly updates, What's the velocity by which those updates are flowing out to your devices and which devices haven't been patched for some reason so that you can make sure that you're current and up to date. And then the last one then is device health. Device health is great because how many of you have any idea in terms of what the crash environment looks like on your network? User mode crashes, user mode crashes. Device health will tell you that. It will tell you what are the key user mode crashes, the key kernel mode crashes, and which drivers are causing those so that you can proactively go out and update drivers and drive down those instances of customers or your end users having a bad experience without them having to call your call centers and try to fix those things. So it's a great way for you to proactively go out and improve your user's experience. So with the combination of these tools then, it helps you in terms of getting to a streamlined approach around app compat and monitoring things on an ongoing basis. So if I told you in advance now with the data I have, I can validate most of your hardware in advance for you by the telemetry that I will share back with you. For your commercial off-the-shelf software, Office, Adobe, SAP, others, I share that information with you back from other users. Then you can use the analytics tool to see all the applications in your environment, which of the remaining applications are deployed and used by most of your users, and narrow it down to a small set of apps that are either broadly used or most critical to your business, and create a specific validation process or strategy just for those applications. And so maybe you have thousands of apps in your organization that you rely on or that you use. Many of those apps are covered, either Microsoft apps or they're covered externally. I will share that data back with you. Many of those apps are very rarely used in an organization. They're part of your long tail. And so 1 or 2 users may use them occasionally. But some of those apps are very important to you, and so you'll be able to focus on just those particular apps. And through the flighting ring strategy that analytics will help you drive, create a specific validation and ring strategy to validate those apps and then roll them out to your broad organization. Again, help you get to that deploy decision quicker, but most importantly, use data to validate that process when you make that decision. So that was the process in terms of getting through a one sort of update process. But this update cadence is an ongoing thing. New capabilities, functionality come on a regular basis from both Office and from Windows. And much like an assembly line continues to move, think in terms of building a process. The ideal place as an IT group you want to be is you're monitoring a pane of glass that's watching this process on an ongoing basis. At the head of the process, the start of the process, you're taking a look at the new features and functionality of the next release. This is using the Windows preview program where I make available to you and to your users previews of the next version of Windows so you can see the new capabilities that are coming, identify the features and functionality that are important or of interest to you, and do that planning and design work for you. It then gets released, it becomes the SAC release, the semi-annual channel release. It's now released and you should begin deploying, combining the plan and design work that you did with our release bits and to roll them out to your users through these flooding rings to get to your validation. And then once you make your deploy decision, you now want to roll them out broadly to your entire organization and have your users use that. But as you're moving through the validation and as you're moving through the broad deployment, there's a next set of preview builds coming that the people in the preview program are using to identify the next features and functionality of interest to you. And so it just continues. Any particular user simply sees an update every 6 months, but you see a sort of a spectrum as they move through your organization with new capabilities as it just flows. And as I've told you in terms of delivering this app compat, in terms of delivering against this update cadence, these information just flows from build to build. Users continue to see a better experience, a more stable environment with new capabilities on an ongoing basis, and you're able to monitor this. And because of the telemetry and the feedback that comes back now, if there's an issue that pops up, you're able to see to it quickly and respond and stop or block an update to a specific set of devices until the update conflict gets fixed. And then you can turn the updates on and can continue those. So with Office and Windows, we share the same telemetry-based or data framework-based servicing framework. It's exactly the same between Office and Windows. Slight difference in terms of the execution, because in Windows, I still deliver bits to you through the catalog that you then roll out to your users to install on my machines. In terms of Office 365, you're actually enrolling in a service, and you roll either into a monthly channel or to the semi-annual channel, but the framework is exactly the same. And so this is a simple slide that you can use in terms of mapping the framework into whether it's Windows or Office and which rings map to which parts of either Windows or Office from a servicing perspective or from a channel perspective and how it gets used, the audience should be used, and what the task is for that particular piece. The last part in terms of change management I want to talk about is the preview program. There's this misconception that the preview program is there for you to test software for us, report bugs back, or that I'm asking you to use preview builds to sign off and test for your rollout to your users. And neither one of those are in fact why it's there or what I want you to think about it as for. The preview program is there for you to get early visibility to the features and functionality that's coming in the next release. Things like AppGuard, things like Windows Information Protection require you to understand the capabilities and then do configuration work for how it's going to work for your organization to roll it out. Be it create the whitelist, be it create the rules that you want to use for managing the information protection features. And so you need time to understand those features and then do that work so that when we ship it, you're ready to go and you can roll it out with your users. And so think in terms of the preview program is about you understanding the new capabilities and doing that planning and design work. Have people in your organization who live on the preview builds and whose task is to understand the new features and functionality that are coming, identify the ones that are of interest to you, and then do that planning and design work. That's the key reason it's there. Most customers haven't yet got onto it in that sense of the mode. I would encourage you, if you're not there already, please sign up for it, take advantage of it, use it. We use it on a daily basis. I get daily updates as part of the engineering team to the next version of Windows. You can choose to do it monthly. You probably don't want to be on that particular fast cadence. Use it to get early visibility to what's coming on. And you'll never ask this question in terms of, well, Microsoft, what has you shipped? Because you'll see them as they get checked in from month to month. So with that, I'm going to ask Bruno to come back up now. That's sort of the change management process in terms of how you get yourself into a place of not manually testing and hitting the green button, but get into this process. Bruno's going to talk about how he made the servicing process much better over the past couple of years.
Thank you, John. All right. So with that, we come to our third act, where we are going to talk about what do we change in the technology that services both Office and Windows to make it easier for you to adopt the best practices that John has described. And I kind of like to start at an overall level. It's kind of a busy slide. Let's not read the whole slide. I'll have slides for each of the pieces. But I want you to focus on those bars. And I want you to think that if you are running full download and media on a particular feature update or a particular cumulative update that is further down along a release, you're going to be in a position where you have like a gig. And you have to distribute that to everyone. But then if those devices were patched the month before, now you can take advantage of Express. And you can only send the differential data and files to that device from that previous cumulative update. And now suddenly you're at 10% of that payload. But as we would say in a TV commercial, but wait, there's more. If you take advantage of the fact that we have invested in peer-to-peer networking to allow for those downloads to not have to happen for every single device, now you'll find yourself in 1/3 of that 1/10 of the package size. This is optimal, naturally, so you can get down up to this point. But there are technologies that were built as we moved from 1507 to 1511 to 1607 and so on, to make sure that that update experience and that the download and that the time it takes offline the device improves with every single release. So why don't we start by looking at a few of those things? And if you're curious about that, why does Bruno have that screen that looks like just a single radio button over there? The reason I have that there is because most places I go, when you go look at the SCCM console and you look and it says people have download full files for all approved updates, and they never look here at this tab, to be honest, and I don't blame you. But you need to know that there's one different thing here where you can go and say download all the updates and download the Express updates. And when you do that, you're taking that first step from the big bar to the smaller bar, the second bar. And so never forget that there is a servicing approach that makes it easier for you to bring the updates to the endpoints and to consume less of your network. And we're going to talk about other things we're doing from 1809 forward to make it even easier so you don't have to keep making those adjustments and updates. We're making that easier to access. So that's when we looked at, I'm missing slides. Okay, maybe they come after. Maybe I missed the slides. So this is what I was talking about. So let's talk about what is coming ahead of 1809 and forward for updates for both client and server. So what the team has been doing work is, for full quality updates, you saw the big bar. It is a significant payload. And then we had both Delta quality updates and we have the Express download for quality updates that we had been discussing. And what the team has done in this latest release, and they have come together to a point where you have just one kind of quality update, and that becomes the smallest and the simplest for all kinds of updates. So you no longer have to make a deliberate decision and go make a bunch of configuration to take advantage of a reduced payload. We're going to make that work for you from 1809 going forward. And when we take a look at that from a size point of view, if you look at the full update, the Delta Plus full, and the Express update files here on the left-hand side, that's what you would have to download for your management platform from sizes of files. So you see the Express update, it's really tiny on the client, but it requires that you download a significant payload ahead of time to your distribution points. Now, as we move on to this next generation of Express updating, you get to a point where you, both on the server side and on the client side, you have a reduced size of that payload. So that's the work that's been going on, that the team has been working on, and that will come available to you as we release the next feature update. Okay? There we go. So the other thing that we talked about beyond those updates is delivery optimization. So delivery optimization is a peer-to-peer technology that has been introduced into the update engine of Windows. And it helps you make sure that you use the least amount of your network when you're feeding from our content networks, and make sure that you minimize the download and minimize the impact, especially in remote locations with less bandwidth. And the other thing that's super important is we have now introduced delivery optimization as an option for Office ProPlus updates. So now you have a single kind of data pipe for both Windows and Office updates that take advantage of peer-to-peer to make sure that you consume less bandwidth. Now here's the last one. Delivery optimization is set up to a bunch of policies. There's settings to tweak and things to look into to see if it's working the way you want it to work. But you told us, can I get a good way to have a look at how much bandwidth I am actually saving? Am I seeing the savings, and if I tweak, am I going to save more or am I going to save less? And that's why in Windows Analytics Update Compliance, you now have the ability to see how much is downloaded from peers, how much is downloaded from outside of that network segment, and you can actually tell if this thing is working well for you or not, and if you need to tweak it, or if you got to the maximum point of performance that you could get. Okay? Now let's talk about acronyms. Are you familiar with LADBAT? It's not a LADBAT. No, that's not what that is. Please don't beat anyone with it. LADBAT is a new protocol. You may have seen it as part of one of the preview announcements quite a few months ago. But what it is a protocol that takes advantage of network utilization, or rather lack of network utilization. And so you can enable LADBAT for Windows updates. And what it does is, when it sees that there's network available, it will start using that bandwidth to bring the update down. But what's magic about LADBAT is it gets out of the way whenever other traffic comes in. And so it's not that, oh, as it starts eating bandwidth, then, God damn it, if someone needs to send an email, then all of my bandwidth is taken for that device, and the email will get out an hour and a half later. And so that's really something for you to look into. It is a new protocol that is supported as part of the transport for updates, and it can have a great impact from the point of view of looking at when your network is not being consumed, and that you can take advantage of that. If you want kind of visual representation, that's why there's those 3 charts over there. So you see unused bandwidth. Without LADBAT, if you start consuming that bandwidth, you can tell that it's hard for the other traffic to take advantage of it. But with LADBAT, you only use the piece of the bandwidth that someone's not demanding at that point in time, and it's quite fast. Okay, let's talk about another very common question. What have you guys done about the size of the feature update payload? On average, we have reduced from 3.5 gigs for full media to about 1.8 gigs with express feature updates. Okay? So that's the work that's been done through multiple releases, and we continue to work on that. Besides that, the team continues to work to make sure that the time that you need the interruption of the end user to the boot up process is minimized, so that at the end of the day, we do most of this work in the background while the user is interacting with the device. And then, as John mentioned, the boot properly just takes a few minutes for you. So as you experiment with insider previews, or maybe you have seen that when you update it to 1803, you're going to see that become a very quick process. Now, one thing that you have asked us, and maybe I should just ask the question, how many of you rely on SCCM task sequences that have pre and post upgrade things that you have to do? So quite a few of you. How would you like to have some facility in the client, in the update engine, so that regardless of network connectivity or whatever happens on the device, you still have your pre and post processing scripts on the device? Yes, please, right? So that's what the team has done. So there is pre and post processing support that has been introduced to allow for you to do both run once and run at every time you do a feature update on the device. And so you can basically just stage those scripts and the payloads and bits that they require in those folders, and the servicing client for Windows will, if you're on run once, naturally run that single time and then throw it away. Or if it's on run, it will keep that payload going for every feature update. Okay, so those are other facilities to make sure that if sometimes you're running your task sequence and you find yourself post-boot without a connection to your server, it's not a very pleasant experience. So we have built different functionality to allow you to have different ways of exploring that. If you need to update a bunch of people in remote locations, if you have people that work remote, so they would need to VPN back in, all those things can certainly help around here. What else here? We had previously set a default 10-day rollback for feature updates. And starting in 1803, we gave you the ability to set that rollback period between 2 and 60 days. That way, depending on which ring, which flight, which release, how confident you are with the process, you can set that time, and you can have basically a backup plan if you need to roll someone back. So you have to decide for how long you want to use that amount of disk and so on, but that's something that supports both feature and quality updates, and that gives you that safety net, if you will. And it's supported both through MDM and through SCCM. So depending on if you manage with Intune or MDM, or if you manage with SCCM, you have both those capabilities. Another request that is very common, can I diagnose my setup? One of my feature updates did not go through, and I have no idea why. And so you can download through the download center, setup diag, and it can work in two different ways. It can work online on a certain device that failed, and do best effort, go through all the logs and everything and try to find the root causes of that issue. Or if you need to do it offline, you can run it against a set of log files for the same process. Okay? So that's to help you figure out, as John explained, like you want to shorten that deploy decision. But we have to realize that a big portion of that beyond technology is confidence. You need to kind of build that confidence of, can that update in place happen? Do I have the right tool set? How many safety nets do I have? What tooling do I have? How different is my Army knife so that I can go and handle issues that I face? Let's talk about one more. Application reinstallation improvements. Anyone have seen applications come back after you do a feature update? Anyone? No? Oh, I thought you were already all done with that. So let's talk about that, because it really depends on from which feature update to which feature update you're going. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's just do a quick sample in a room. Anyone in 1511 over there? Thank you. Anyone in 1607? Quite a few. Have work to do. 1703? Good. 1709? Yay. 1803? Wow, amazing. So great to see the progress. The real question is, as people remove apps, what happens to them? So the first one is the initial releases, 1607, 1511. They brought them back, right? And that was kind of like, don't like that. So we heard what you said, and we went ahead and did changes. So the first change was from 1607 to 1703, the user removed apps would not come back. But if apps were removed by policy by IT, they would still come back. And so you told us again, no, that's not enough. So we went back and did the work again, and we worked for 1703 to 1709 to maintain apps deprovisioned by IT admins. Now there's a couple of things that you need to keep in mind, and that continues to be true from then on. The first one is apps that provisioned offline will still come back. That's because we are not able to get the catalog and synchronize the lists. And so deprovision apps online. The guidance is don't do that in an offline manner, because then we are not going to be able to set it up in a way that the apps will not come back. And then for apps removed by IT to not come back, you need to be going from 1703 or later to a following feature update. That's because the improvements in the servicing client that keep the list of removed apps is in 1703 going forward. So that's something to keep in mind. As John was explaining and I showed you the lists, it's not just user visible features or maybe security features. We continue to evolve the servicing and update engine, and you will see those benefits as you move from one release to the next. Okay, let's talk about Desktop App Assure. Have you heard of Desktop App Assure before sitting down here today? Some of you have. For those of you who have not heard of this, if you are a subscriber of Office 365 or Windows Enterprise, and you have used Fast Track, and you find yourself in a situation where you have a Windows, an app that works on Windows 7 today, and as you migrate your device to Windows 10, that app no longer works, you can call us, and we will work with you to make sure that that app works. We will look into what happened. We will see if it is a Windows issue, if it is an Office issue, or if it's something that you can do for your app to make sure that it works. Our level of compatibility, as John was explaining, is very, very high. You will see in the following weeks the ready for Windows site move into a ready for M365 site to help you with the modern desktop and include compatibility data on Office add-ins as well. And we want to make sure that you feel we have your back. As Brad explained in the session prior to this one, we called internally, the code name for that project was No App Left Behind. We want to make sure that you have someone to call and that we help you figure out what's going on. We have seen a super high index of compatibility. We understand that we need to help you build your confidence, and that's what App Assure is for. Now, given a lot of you don't know about App Assure, let me ask you a different question. Have you read a blog post that Jared Spataro, my vice president, has posted on September 6th with many announcements around servicing as well? Some of you have, but apparently some of you have not. So let's cover that. So what is the servicing cadence of Windows currently and going forward? As John was explaining, we release twice a year, and we suggest that you do flighting of insider previews 6 months prior. So that's what those early 6 months are for. And then you have all those releases from 1607, which is still supported, onward. And we had previously announced an extra set of 6 months for servicing for a few of these releases. And we continue to work with you and listen to your feedback. And what we have decided to do is that for the September targeted releases that we are going to do from this, basically this release that is about to come out forward, if you are using Windows 10 Enterprise or Windows 10 Education, we will service those releases for 30 months. So for the latter release of the year, we will provide extended servicing for that release for an additional 12 months. And because we wanted to make sure that we helped you in this transition of change management, we added these additional months of servicing to all of the current supported releases. So both for 1703, 1709, 1803, and 1607, all those releases are also serviced for 30 months. The idea here is this gives you an extra safety net to go ahead and do your servicing, get used to Windows as a service so that you can get in cadence, and then you can decide, depending on the size of your organization, your needs, your apps, to go twice a year, because then you take advantage of the best technology and the best security, or if for some other reason you need to take advantage of extended servicing. So the idea really here is to give you flexibility and give you the ability to go as you adapt your organization and depending on its size as well. Okay? So this is super important, something to take into consideration as you plan for your Windows 10 deployment. Now, Windows 10 is one component of the modern desktop, and I'm sure you all received your activations on modern desktop, and we have a lot of people from the engineering groups wanting to talk to you at the expo. But another part of the modern desktop is Office 365 ProPlus, and I showed you before the slide with all of the intelligent features we add to it. But the question that I receive often beyond the deployment is, what about compatibility, Bruno? Can I upgrade from 2013, 2016 MSI to ProPlus and not worry about my macros or anything else? Well, we happen to be working on a similar technology to analytics, to Windows Analytics, to help you with Office. We did a first release that you kind of run on your own on-premise environment called the Office Readiness Toolkit. And what it does is it creates a summary report of add-ins and macros and VBA code that is running on your devices, and we let you know how likely you are to run into any issues around compatibility. Now, there's a few data points I want to share with you because they are really, really interesting in regards to Office compatibility. So we looked at millions upon millions of files that are hosted in SharePoint Online and in OneDrive for Business to look at any macro compatibility issues we may find. And we found out that amongst those millions upon millions of files, about 2% of those files have macros. So from the get-go, only 2% of those may have an issue. Now, what's most interesting, we then looked at those 2% and tried to figure out what things were being done with those macros that may lead to anything breaking when you update from one version of Office to another or from one feature release of Office to the next. And what we found out is of the 2%, only 1.5% have use of things like external links or external references in their macros that could potentially break. So I want to make sure that you understand that within the overall estate of files that you're probably running, the number of files that have macro dependencies and that have risk in compatibility is very low. But we want to make sure that you find those 1.5% of 2%, and that's why the Office Readiness Toolkit is here. And as we move forward this year and early next year, we're going to integrate Windows Analytics and Office Readiness Toolkit into Desktop Analytics, which Brad Anderson just announced. And we're going to let you, through the cloud, look at your telemetry data from both products and be able to look at compatibility for both. And then you can plan your deployments of Windows 10 and Office Pro Plus together or separately, depending on your needs and depending on your cadence. Okay, so that's compatibility for Office. Now let's have a look about some of the improvements on Click-to-Run. Question to the audience, who here is actually running Click-to-Run? Wow, thank you. I don't think I've seen that number of hands being raised in a very long time. So it's great to see that you are going down that path. If you can help point people to my condensed session on Thursday morning, I would love to evangelize a few more people around it. But what you may not know around those things is we continue to work to reduce the payload of the feature and quality updates of ProPlus as well. It's not just an effort on Windows, it is an effort on the Office side as well. And the other interesting thing is with Click-to-Run connected to our CDN, we do check for updates daily now instead of 3 times a week, which leads end users to be compliant about 95% within the first week. And that's really great for us because we not only make sure that you get feature functionality, but we make sure that for any vulnerabilities, any security issues, you are quickly up to the latest release. And then, as I mentioned, you have access to different peer-to-peer download technologies. If you use SCCM, you can use the SCCM peer-to-peer technology. If you are using the CDN distribution network, it is now delivery optimization enabled. The same thing is true for proofing tools, which are now packaged in Click-to-Run. And we have the MSI to Click-to-Run upgrader tool built into the Office deployment tool, where you basically have to set MSI to remove. And then before deploying Click-to-Run onto that device, we will scrub the whole device for anything MSI on any of the releases, 2010, 2013, 2016, and we will clean that for you. Yes, I do understand that you have used certain project on GitHub in the past, and that it has helped greatly, but it wasn't quite there where you wanted to be. So today we have announced, and we're happy to show it to you at the Expo, a service online that will generate the XML for you for click to run, including the ability to remove all the previous MSI configuration. Cool. Language pack considerations, which I know is something that you probably have dealt with and still continue to try to optimize for your organization. First thing to understand is we do not recommend or support that you load MSI language packs on top of a click-to-run installation. They are now available in click-to-run through our regular CDN, and you have a set of switches that are also in the new tool. You're basically going to be able to navigate on the web, pick all the options you want, and we will export an XML that you can then deploy and have run. So you have the right set of keys to either match the OS, to bring in previous MSI proofing tools and language packs that were there into the device, or to basically build a list as you need. What else? Some considerations around customizing Office ProPlus post-install. So you can change a channel after the installation. We do not recommend you do that only if really necessary, for the most simple reason that it will bring a significant payload down to make that channel change, and you probably prefer not to do that. Changing versions and rollback, you can force clients to go to a specific targeted version to make sure that for any reason, if it broke something that you had, or if you want to or need to consist everybody, there are things to do that. We do not recommend you change the registry for channel or version changed naturally. Use the tool set. We believe this new tool set for Office configuration file generation will help you bridge a lot of issues you have faced in the past, and then hopefully you don't need to look into some of these options. Okay, so from there, I want to just walk you through what we believe is the modern desktop adoption path that most of you are following or will follow. So the way we see it, and applying a lot of the technologies and a lot of best practices that we discussed here today, we start with what we call gain insights. And so for right now, you should use Windows Analytics and the Office Readiness Toolkit. Later, you'll be able to use Desktop Analytics to have a complete set of tools for that in a single pane of glass. Once you understand your estate, and you know what your compatibility key focus should be, you can then start to set the foundation. So you set your flighting or deployment rings, and then you roll out your deployment of Windows 10, Office 365 ProPlus, and you take advantage as you refresh your hardware of getting into modern devices that can give you some unique security capabilities. And then, of course, you make that in a way that sets you up to staying current, that prepares you to take on updates every 6 months. And if you suddenly have some issue around that, you can take updates a little longer time with Windows Enterprise and Windows Education. And then we highly recommend you continue to look into how do you modernize your end user computing environment and management scenario. So we recommend you look into Autopilot for existing and new devices, and you look into integrating Microsoft Intune with SCCM and take advantage of all the cloud capability that it offers. And with that, I just have one last slide to make sure that, question to the room, who here has used Fast Track before? A few of you. So for those of you who have not used Fast Track, I highly recommend you do that. The Fast Track team is a team that works directly with the engineers that build the products to provide the best possible guidance and help you follow up and build the plans and build the project plans so that you can do your deployment. And that covers all of the Microsoft 365 services. And with that, I have my last slide to make sure you download the app for Ignite, that you fill out your feedback. We really appreciate the feedback to make sure that we keep improving this session and we bring it back every year. And if you have questions, we'd be happy to stay for a few minutes. There's mics over there. And I really appreciate you coming and getting the energy in the room. Thank you.